After months of suspended service and no announced restoration date, came to the typically empty rail station Thursday night to discuss the Atlantic City rail line.
Well, the most significant rail line that has not had any rail service is the Atlantic City rail line, which is where we're standing in a station now not used because we haven't restored service yet. It is imperative. I'm a South Jersey legislator. I'm vice chair of the transportation. It is imperative that we get these trains to Atlantic City up and running. Atlantic City is a star of the state of New Jersey. It started to come back in the past few years. We need to keep it going. It's extremely important that we get back online. And I'm delighted that the Commissioner of Transportation and the Executive Director of New Jersey Transit have agreed to these public meetings to explain what the holdup is. This is the second of five different events talking about how we get going again. I am delighted this evening to be here to thank them for listening to our invitation. I think it started way back in December.
Both of our assemblymen here, they've been fighting hard and they've been pressing hard for this thing to be straightened out. This is not like other areas of the state where there are multiple forms of transportation and opportunity for people. Down here, the line from Atlantic City to Philadelphia is extremely important. It's important for economic development because, quite frankly, it matters.
We're here with you to talk about just the Atlantic City line. We understand the strong focus you have because it impacts your day-to-day existence. We make system-wide decisions, not Atlantic City decisions, not Northeast Corridor decisions, not Princeton decisions, all decisions. And that's a hard pill for you to swallow because of all the lines we have, you and Princeton and RVL and I think some of the M&E have been the most affected. But Congressman, I will tell you that there is no intention to not restore your service. And we heard the same thing in Princeton. Well, this is just a ploy. If it was, the last place I would be standing in this moment is in this convention center. Why would I do that? If I wasn't going to bring service back and support Kevin and his team, why would Kevin be here, right? That to me, we would never do that. We would never show up here and tell you something that we weren't sincere about.
Talking points quickly dissolved into questions and statements from the crowd, including when service would be restored and the ignoring of commuters' needs.
But wait a minute. But the point is, so you can be angry and talk about 2006 and 2011 and 10. Where were you? You were somewhere else.
China, yeah.
Okay, I was running the New Jersey Turnpike, and then I was running Florida's Turnpike. I wasn't here. But since we've been here, we have been 100% committed to getting PTC installed, meeting our federal guidelines, okay, and doing what we've been asked to do to deliver train service that is safe and reliable. And you have been impacted. There's no doubt about it.
As Diane said, we know coming today that was not going to be, unless we were saying it starts tomorrow, people aren't going to be happy. And there are three factors to where we are and narrowing down a date, and that's why we're still saying second quarter. Believe me, we are pushing between our schedulers, our planners, our equipment people to get the equipment, get the engineers, and make sure everything's functional. We'd like to have given you a date certain today. And people say, I could say June 15th. Yeah, I'm 100% comfortable with June 15th or June 30th. What we're working is to really narrow down those selections to get our schedule, the spring schedule we put out for labor. And to Diane's point, when that schedule comes out, it's usually 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks notice for labor, for the pick, they get their pick and seniority. So you back that out, we will be coming out with a definitive schedule fairly soon, but we're not there tonight.
You will know well in advance of the restoration date what the restoration date is. And because we say second quarter, doesn't mean we're just sitting around waiting for June 30th. I'd like this off my plate. I have other things to do.
It's not fair to Atlantic City. I work in the city of Philadelphia every day. I have to leave my house at 5 in the morning. I get home at 5:30 to this bus station, and I need to get home.
No, I'm not the only veteran in this part of the state that relies on a reasonable way to get to and from Philadelphia.
But now all of a sudden, all this equipment and people are gone? But what I'm concerned about, communication.
Too many times. Too many issues, exactly. We've had a congressional armament to help the state get better as far as rail systems, which you guys in comfortable areas, regions, only listen to whoever calls you because of the powerful influences. Where average people here don't get that same type of respect, don't get that same type of adherence. We talked about a senior citizen, we're talking about Army veterans, we're talking about casino workers, we're talking about industry-dependent conferences that take place where incomes and money's happy here.
Madam, I'd like to say that I agree with everything you said that they had from '08. You know, and I agree that you walked into a mess. But who made the decision to take the equipment from Atlantic City?
But what it means is I'm concerned about the different conventions that are scheduled to come in, whether it be the fact that Frida just spent $1 million for music conventions to come in, and that if we don't have the trains, people are not going to come.
First of all, let me say the Board of Freeholders passed a resolution urging New Jersey Transit to get this line back on as soon as possible. We are getting calls from our constituents, folks who are coming in and out of Atlantic City for conventions, to work. We have the boat show coming up. We had the teachers convention. We had the League of Municipalities, no trains. You have the Beer Fest, no trains. You had the RV show, no train. People are tired of hearing the same old story over, and over. So at the end of the day, people want real answers, real solutions.
We have to go to hell and back to get up to Philadelphia to get to the train, when I could have very easily taken this, which I've done many times, taken it right up to Philadelphia to 30th Street, then taken a local out to the airport and gone on the train. Absolutely. So it's, it's my access to the world, so to speak.
Yeah. New Jersey Transit Executive Director Kevin Corbett did promise an announcement coming in the next 3 weeks. However, no official railway reopening has been announced.
As somebody who was a regular commuter who was up north, but where we went through the summer of hell 2 years ago, the frustration is not, if this was just one thing for a couple of months, people would get it if they've had perfect service all along. To Diane's point, we've been, for whatever reasons, New Jersey Transit was starved, underfunded, didn't train engineers, so a lot of the chickens have come home to roost on my watch. But I realize a lot of it's accumulated frustration, particularly at AC, that it's, the negative impact economically, we put it together, everything else.
But I think at a high level, right now where we are is in the logistics process of rolling out how we bid the engineer lines, how we get the equipment out, and over the next 3 weeks, Kevin and his team are going to put that schedule in place, which will have at it an end date. Schedule of restoring our service.
So restoration.
So that we can get to the restoration date. That's where we are. It's logistics right now.
But we all know, we all have to play a role in increasing ridership, of making it a much more substantial line for our residents, whether they work in Atlantic City, Philadelphia, or anywhere along the line. We're actually having another meeting with New Jersey Transit in Cherry Hill next week to discuss it. What we did ask them is to be more transparent. What really has been going on?